Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey!
Yo, what is going on? How's everybody today? Hope everybody's having a good day. Let's get this going. Man, we got some fun stuff to do today. I really hope you guys like my new hat that I have. But we also have a really cool Core P3 that we're going to do some builds in today.
How cool!
Super cool. But yeah, no, we're really excited about this. Is definitely going to be some neat stuff because I want to be able to give you guys a closer look at, like, you know, doing PETG hard tubing. The Core P3, I think, is a great example for us to try this out and see what everybody thinks. You know, an open frame chassis makes it real easy to do a lot of custom liquid cooling. The Core P3 has been a staple for a lot of builds that I have done over the years. And every single one that I do, I love each and every one of them. We've done a lot of fun stuff from, gosh, we have this in black, we carry this in red, we carry this in white. We've done a variety of different things. We have the regular tempered glass. We started with acrylic, went to tempered glass as an upgrade option. And then now we even have the curved glass with the 90-degree curved tempered glass panel, which is really wicked to be able to add on to something like this. Or any of the other, you know, P3 type style builds. And then, man, you know, we've just been going crazy. I mean, looking at this today and then looking in comparison to what we've done even further with that, with the distro case 350p. I mean, this is basically an inspiring build from that, you know, where we just made the whole back panel a distro plate. So yeah, Core P3, man, this has been such a nice case to work in. Really straightforward liquid cooling for CPU, GPU combinations. I just like the layout, the space that you get. And then, you know, the options that you have as far as getting all your components set up right and then be able to showcase it either, you know, sit next to your desk while you're gaming or being able to put it up on the wall. I love the fact that this case has a VESA mount on the back and being able to like wall mount your system up and away so you can have more monitor space on your desk. And then just be able to have that trophy piece up there. That, man, P3's good.
Speaking about that, I actually fell in love with the Core P5 series, which is a bigger version of this. I have one sitting at home, and it is the best case I've ever owned.
Oh, right there.
So much attention, and it just looks awesome.
Yeah, Steve's a big fan. Core P5. You know, even more space, more room for cooling. Man, that thing just, you know, opens up even more options for you there. Being able to do, you know, some larger radiators with that, or be able to get, I mean, we have so many now. I mean, we have the Core P1, we have the Core P3, which you see here. We got the Core P5, which is what started it all. Then we had the Core P7, which was basically the triple stack, which had the two wings on, you know, both sides of the case. That thing was ginormous. We saw some amazing modded builds with that. And then, yeah, more recently with the Core P8 that came out, which is basically, you know, the Core P5 gone crazy. And then going back to the Core P3 style with the distro case 350p. Man, we've been busy. We've been busy, baby. We've been busy. But yeah, I hope you guys are all doing good. I hope you guys are getting ready to do the best Thanksgiving you can for this week. I know we all are. Make sure you guys are safe out there and everything, and enjoy and have a good time. Enjoy that long weekend. And while you're just chilling out here on a Tuesday, we're going to be doing some cool liquid cooling. If you guys want to just sit back and relax and watch as we go forward with the build, we're just going to talk about the case a little bit here, and then we're going to dive into some tubing and have some fun with this guy today. I've done some special things with this one to kind of just throw a little bit of like the modder-esque, you know, that DIY spirit that everybody likes. And, you know, one thing that I did that I did this a while ago, but it was really not something that I showcased because it was just something that I was doing for fun. And the one thing I wanted to know was, could I cut the reservoir and be able to do something where I had an open-ended reservoir top and then make my own downstem with the PETG tubing. And surprisingly enough, it worked out pretty well. And I used it as like a test system for, gosh, a couple years. I mean, of course, evaporation definitely increases. So you just got to watch your coolant levels and everything, but you got this really wicked look. So, I mean, one day I just decided to take the reservoir off of my PR22, which is what I got here. And I just put it in my miter box that I cut my PETG tubing with, and I just cut it at a 45. And I couldn't believe how clean it was. This right here is basically this is my cool little desk piece now, but this is basically the top that I cut off of the reservoir. So this was the reservoir. It had the top of the G and the quarters, the down stem and all that. And I just cut 45 off of this thing. And then, I took it a step further, and I took this and I wet sanded it, got this all nice and smooth, and I polished this all out so it doesn't have like a rough edge or anything like that. And yeah, it cleaned up real nice. And then I got this cool little piece to play with. So, you don't have to do stuff like this. We wanted to do something fun for this show, show you guys something neat. So I thought this would be something cool to kind of throw into the build as far as what we were going to be doing with stuff like that. But man, I couldn't believe how how easy this was to cut. And then, it gave me a cool little mod that I have it. I mean, of course, it's definitely not travel friendly, but at the same time, how often do you really move your PC all that much? And I mean, stuff like that. If I did have to take it somewhere, I'd just take the necessary precautions. It ain't too bad. It ain't too bad. I drained it anyways, So yeah, we got a little fun, extra special things set up there with our PR22 D5. Now this is the silent one that has the aluminum housing around it. Gives it a nice clean look, D5 performance in there. And yeah, for the P5, you got this wicked little diving board is what we call it. And then that allows you to basically mount your pump reservoir right here in front of the radiator. Gives you a nice little space so that way you're not too close to the fan, so you still get your proper airflow and all that. I mean, it's open frame, just the same, but either way, you got some nice clearances there with it. And then, of course, we have a water block graphics card. I'm so sad that it's not a 30 series, but hang tight. We'll be having some of those soon. Either way, I definitely wanted to throw some GPU cooling. So we got a nice water blocked Asus GPU right here to throw into the mix, so we can show you guys some fun tube work stuff. And then tying this all together, we have our this is our CLM 360 rad. So this is basically our medium thickness radiator. Pretty popular size, I guess, from what you would see out in the market. This is a 40 mil versus like the 64, which would be the larger or thicker radiator that we offer. And it's not like the little slim one, like the 25 mil, like you would expect with like an AIO. So you get a little bit more cooling capacity there with that. And, with the radiators and everything like that, all copper throughout. And then I like, as far as how I have this set up for the rad, you got your 4 ports on the top. And then of course I got the back 2 plugged, but then you got your front 2 ports there. And then you got the other port down at the bottom, which I put a quick release so that way, or a quick disconnect. So that way I could go in there, put a tube into it and use that for draining, for maintenance and everything. I actually also did the same thing on the PR22 to put another drain there. And I'll show you guys that more a little bit up close as we, we kind of get into this, but ideally to give you guys some options for maintenance stuff too. Of course, all this stuff is optional and you can put in whatever you want to put in to, make sure that it's going to be something comfortable for you to deal with once you get to that point. Most of the time, coolant's good for a good 12 months. You really don't have too many issues with the coolant, besides like maybe right in the beginning to see if you have any type of particular like reaction or something like that. But most of the time, if everything's going smooth for the first couple of weeks, you're pretty much going to be fine going forward with it, unless you're using specialty coolants, which you got to be careful with. And you got to watch some of that stuff. But, it's all the give and take with water cooling and all that stuff. Do we have any questions or anything in regards to what we've started with already?
We actually do. So
what's up? What's up?
Question from Digital Logic.
Yeah.
What quick release are you using, Mike?
Oh, so I have I've actually, it's installed right here. Let me, I got another one right here. So this is basically the quick disconnect. Well, this isn't a quick disconnect. This is basically an on-off valve. So what I'll do is I'll have like a 90-45 fitting that I'll put right here off of the pump reservoir. So that way I get the 90 for going up for the coolant, and then it gives me a 45 out, so I can basically put another 90 on there and then do just like a little small extension, like male to male. And then that will allow me to be able to basically put on this on and off valve that I almost dropped. And you can just basically use this to open and close, so that way you can drain out the coolant. And then, oh, I got wires and cables and everything hanging from me. I would make sure everything's cool. And then I would just, do something simple like this with a soft tube, just throw a G1/4 barb on the end there, and then I can quick connect this, or basically I can secure this into the drain valve, and then just open the drain valve, and I can just pour this right out into a bucket. And I can put this on both the reservoir as well as the radiator with the bottom fifth, or the fifth port or the bottom port on here. And then I can just put both of those in there and then use that for convenience to be able to drain both sides of it, because, you know, gravity helps you with a lot of that. But again, you know, it's optional if you want to do stuff like that. I mean, you know, in those kind of scenarios, a lot of people will maybe put like one, like off the rad, to be able to, you know, get the bottom part of the rad drained out. Some other people will do like put a separate tube. They'll just flush the coolant throughout the system and just kind of purge it all out, or just make a little makeshift PETG tube and just kind of blow in it. And then you can just kind of push majority of that coolant out and get at least the most of it, get most of it out, so you can disconnect everything and then, you know, go in for the deep clean. Like if you're taking blocks apart, you want to clean everything out, or if you want to just basically run distilled water through it, you can just take that last return that you would have coming off of the rad going back into the pump, and then just do a separate return with like a soft tube like this or whatever, you know, make some cool little bend with a PETG tube, and then you can just use that and then just kind of drain it that way. I mean, the convenience of taking off, like for example, the top of this res is already open, but on a normal res, you would have the top part that would unscrew with the G and a quarter ports. You could take that cap off. You could take this and put this into the radiator, and instead of it basically going into the reservoir, you're just draining it into a bucket. And then now that your top cap is open, you can just basically take a gallon of distilled water and just pour it in there, and then just run the pump, and then just cycle a whole gallon of coolant through and out of the system for, like, if you're going to be doing like a color change, for example, or you just want to do a nice deep clean with it. You're not seeing too much stuff where you're going to be having to take the blocks apart, and a lot of that stuff. And I mean, most of the time, I'd probably say like a gallon or two would be kind of what I would run through with it. I'd just kind of purge as much of it out of there, get that out, maybe put it back together, let it run for a little bit, rinse and repeat, do it again, depending on the color as far as what you want to go from and to. Because, you know, certain colors, you know, the pigments, man, they can be real attached for what you would have. And, you know, if you're like trying to go from like red to white, it can be real hard to not get pink.
Two more questions for you.
Oh, yeah, let's go, baby. What are those questions?
Cool. So Carrie asks about the Core P series as a whole.
Core P series.
Is the vertical GPU bracket the same on all the Core series machines that have it?
Actually, it is. The bracket, as far as the layout, even the tray itself, has been the same that I've seen for all of the, you know, every single P series that I've built in, at least. I haven't done anything with the 7, but I've seen the 7 up close. It's the same, just little metal bracket. They carry it over because it's easier, less tooling, you know what I mean? Cost effective as far as different models and everything, to kind of keep some similarities, you know, with the models. Because the tray itself is basically a set standard. You know what I mean? It has to be a certain size to support the graphics card. You can't make it really smaller. It'd look kind of weird, you know? And I mean, at the same time, when you look at something like a P1 all the way up to like a P8 and everything, you see that tray thing, it does, you know, it's basically the same scenario with that. But then again, you know, the tray is optional too. With the P3, you can go vertical or you could go traditional. And this tray could actually, you know, you can actually take the tray out. This expansion slot that we'd have would then rotate and go back into the board, so you could plug the graphics card in, you know, normally into the system, you know, not using a riser cable. But, you know, with the P3, you know, you got the tray, you got the riser cable. I mean, man, it looks good like that. It looks good like that. And it makes it a lot more fun for doing a lot of like coolant, you know, tube work stuff and everything. But you got options. You got options, and that's what I love about this case.
Next question.
Yeah. Next question.
Quebecer 740 asks,
Yeah.
is there a thing as too much fluid?
Is there a thing as too much fluid? Not necessarily too much fluid, but you could definitely have too much flow. So I would say that when you're doing liquid cooling and, you know, say it's the first time or it's the 10th time, you'll figure out that the pump speed doesn't necessarily have to be maximum. It's actually more or less bad, because if your water is flowing too fast and going through everything, you would think that, oh, it's going to go over the block faster, it's going to cool faster. That's not necessarily how everything works. It's all one big loop. Everything's all kind of like the same temperature. It's not really something where you'd think that, well, you're going to have a hot spot here and there. Over time, all of this stuff equalizes out as long as you have the proper cooling to be able to absorb the heat dissipation that you get from CPU and GPU. And, you know, it's all called the delta T, you know, making sure that you have proper adequate heat dissipation for the total wattage that you're pulling in. And you can go science on it for the most part, but you know, a lot of times you can check out videos, see what people recommend, see what people are doing with their builds. You know, definitely they like to throw up benchmarks, temperatures, and stuff like that, tell you how cold my CPU's running, you know, because they put it in the window in the winter time, and they're like, man, I'm at 17 Celsius. My thing's so cold. But I love it. I love seeing stuff like that, or people like to, you know, wintertime's the best time for overclocking time. You know, there's a lot of cool stuff out there. I mean, granted, here in California, it doesn't really get all that cold. I mean, it gets cold to us, but it definitely doesn't get that cold. And, you know, you could really get some really interesting stuff with that. But, you know, you don't want to deal with condensation and, you know, get all kind of crazy and stuff like that. You get a good little setup with it. And a lot of that is just, you know, finding the proper setting for a lot of what you're doing, or kind of just, you know, trial and error. I mean, for example, with this, I have a 360 rad, CPU and GPU all in one loop that we're going to set up. And I got my pump at 2. I could probably put my pump at 3, but it's going to be marginal as far as getting temperature differences with it. A lot of it more or less is going to deal with the RPMs on my fans.
And would I get better temperatures if I put the pump at 5?
Oh, see, well, yeah, like what we were saying, like, is if you put the pump at 5, you're not necessarily going to get better temperatures. What you are going to get is more pressure in the system, which could then potentially cause more leaks. And I mean, it's still going to hold up for what you're going to be dealing with it, but you definitely, it's something you don't necessarily need. You want to be more focused on RPMs for your fans, setting your PWM curve, or just maxing it out as far as what you want to do, like running 100% when you're benchmarking, or, you know, having your fans at a low rate, you know, when you're, you know, just browsing the internet, watching a movie, stuff like that. I mean, one of the big advantages about liquid cooling is silence. It's not necessarily about, I mean, keeping stuff cool is important, but, you know, you get a nice benefit of a lot quieter of a system. Pumps are a lot quieter. These D5 pumps are near silent for their operation and use, as long as you don't have any air in the system. If your pump's making some weird noises, you might have a bubble stuck in there, or you might have something going on where you want to either turn it off or and just kind of purge it in the beginning. Or another thing too is that you got to always consider you're going to have one, either a leak of water coming out, or 2, you're going to have an air leak coming in. And then that can be 2 different things that you'd have to deal with. Because if it's sucking air in, then you're going to deal with a lot of bubbles and everything, and try to, you're like, hey, why is the bubble still there after like a long period of time, right? That could be something to do with like an air leak. A fitting's just not properly tight, or something's not tight right off the, like a base plate going into the rad, or something could be cracked, for example, and you don't really know until you kind of get all the way there. So, you know, leak testing and everything is always important with stuff like that. And sometimes you won't see it right away. It's just the name of the game as far as what you go. But, you know, we're going to be doing a fun little build in here today with the Core P3. I really hope you guys enjoy it. And just kind of show you guys my little take on what I like to do. I mean, just one way. I could do this a bunch of different ways as far as how, you know, you'd set up the cooling for this stuff. But yeah, you know, we're gonna take a crack at it, and we're gonna have some fun. So let me go ahead. Oh, wait. This is helping you guys. What's up?
This is an interesting one, and I have to throw this out there.
Okay.
So Digital Logic is going to be doing a build with a DP D5 distro plate.
Ooh, the DP D5 in the
stream.
Oh, really?
He wants to know if there's anything we want to share about using the distro plate before versus a traditional res.
Oh, well, I mean, you know, one of the nicest things about a distro plate is basically in the name of the product, distribution. Being able to have multiple outputs has really been a nice offering to be able to do different tube work like lineups, or being able to separate to do tubing for the GPU and CPU and have more of a dedicated type of, you know, distribution on that. It also gives you different levels. The thing I love about the DPD5 is that you have different outputs for the G and a quarters on the side. So you can kind of pick the one that's going to work best for you, or be able to do different tube work depending on where you want to go from A to B, going from, like, say, like the distro into your graphics card, for example. And it gives you a nice bit of options there with that, minus the fact that it just looks badass. I mean, you got a nice wall of coolant there, cool little waterfall flow going down with that. You have the RGB lighting that you can sync up with everything, and you can have that react to it, or use that, like if you're using like a clear coolant or something more of like a white pigment, you could use the color from the RGB on there to basically kind of change the whole color of your theme, change the color of your coolant, and do a lot of, you know, do a lot of fun stuff with that. A lot of fun stuff with that. All right. Okay. So yeah, let's get some stuff set up here. We got some music going on. Let me see. Going to my PC build. Some chill music here. Yeah. Happy Tuesday. Oh. And then here we go. So this is what I basically set up, is my little hat cam. So you guys can get a first person view of how I'm gonna be doing the tube work. I mean, check this out. Being able to go in here, we're gonna take some fittings off. We'll just start getting these guys ready for the tubing and everything. And I'll do my best to keep this guy pretty much straightforward so you guys can see what's going on. And I'll move this out of the way because I guess I'm just making sure you guys can kind of see. So I'm just taking the top of the C Pro off there, and you can, if you guys can get in here, you can see. So I have basically a 90-45. I got my C Pro base right here, and then I got another 90 going to a little extension, and then here's my open and close valve so that I can do put my tube in here for my maintenance. And then the other thing I did was I added another one down here, as you can see, and I got another one here for the radiator, and I can just kind of swivel it out, you know, as I need to. Oh. My cables. This is a prototype, guys. Sorry. I'll try my best. Try my best here to make sure that I don't make this thing too dizzy. I just get my cords here handled. Oh yeah. Okay. So I'm just gonna go forward with just taking off some more of these C Pro guys. And then if you guys have questions about this, I'm not gonna be looking at the chat all that much, but definitely Thermal Steve's right here, and he'll be happy to help out and let me know if you guys have particular questions.
Thermal cam.
Got the thermal cam going, baby. So you guys can kind of see. I mean, I'm really excited to show you guys the tube work stuff that I got lined up as far as what I want to do. So we're just taking off because I just like to put it on there for show. Yeah. Hang out with us. Watch some cooling. This is Thermaltake Live. We're on episode 12. Man, we going. Let's see, is this one loose? No. Oh, no, I just got it. I got a tool for these too, so I can use a tool on these that will allow me to separate these out. I think it's, yeah. So this guy. So basically with this, if I had my C Pro right here, and then I have so this has got the small little notch that's gonna go down here into the middle, and then I can use this to tighten it and loosen it. So that way I'm not cutting my fingers on these threads. And it makes it easier to, basically get it on and off. We'll go ahead and get this set up in here. We can put that guy back on. All right. So I like to take all my fun little caps off, so that way I got all my caps here, and then I'll just kind of push these guys to the side now. We're not going to need those for a little bit. We're going to kind of look at what we got going on as far as just kind of how I laid this out. So I'm looking at, basically, I got my 90 coming up off my pump res. We're gonna come up, go over. We're gonna do a 90 going into the GPU. I'm gonna come out of the GPU and let's do like a loop-de-loop going into the CPU for some fun. And then we'll do a nice little teardrop going down from the rad into the CPU to basically be, so this would be 1, 2, 3. And then for number 4, we'll spend a little extra time and we'll do a cool little twisty guy going down, and we'll make our own little like fake down stem and have some fun with that. What do you guys think? All right. So again, like with most stuff that I'm gonna do, my radiator's not necessarily locked down. I got some options to adjust it up and down for how I'm gonna do the tube work as far as once I get the main tube in. Same with the pump. I can move the pump, slide it back and forth because I got a little bit of clearance that I wanna make sure I'm good with the tube coming up behind the graphics card. And we're just gonna loop that right underneath those nice sleeved extensions. I love those sleeved extensions, man. It really saves a lot of space for me. It gives a nice clean look with that. And then here on the back side, so then we just got most of our cables just kind of laid out. I got my controller and my fans and stuff hooked up, but we haven't connected our pump just yet. And then I can disconnect the 24 pin so that way I can just put a jumper on it. So that way, once we jumper the 24 off the power, it's only going to put power to just the pump. And then that way, you know, everything's kind of safe when we're just doing our coolant, you know, for the first time, right? Safety. So let's get started. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. So we're gonna need some tools. I got a saw right here that I like to use. I don't know why I actually brought that out first. Let's just put that back down here. That didn't happen. But actually, we are gonna need the saw kind of soon. Kind of soon. So we got some tubing. Got a cutter here to just make it easy. Get that first kind of cut going on with this. And then I got some inserts. I always like to do this little trick with the screw. So then, basically, this will go into the tube, and then I can use this little screw right here. I can put this into the insert and use it to pull it out like I'm popping out like a wine cork. Really comes in handy when you want to do like connecting it up A to B with the C Pros. It's a thing I like to do. I don't know. It's just something I picked up when these became an option for stuff like this. So let's see what we got. Just get like a little bit of a ballpark. So there's our height on it and everything. We're not going to worry about like where we're going to bend the 90. We're just going to make sure that we got enough length on both sides. Hopefully that'll be long enough. And then, okay, let's see. Trying to go slow for you guys. I'm doing my best. All right. This is just soapy water. This ain't nothing special. Just water and soap. Like I've mentioned before, the soap just helps prevent the evaporation as fast, so I can get my insert out nice. And yeah, we got a fresh batch of soapy water here, so this guy's extra foamy right now. Extra foamy. Whoa! We're getting wild. Okay, move this so we don't spill it. All right, we're gonna do a 90, so let's get our board set up. So we got our 90 right here. We got this thing called a heat gun. Real important, see? Heat gun. Need to pack a punch it.
Does it cost 5,000?
Pack a punch this level 3.
Oh, it's too rich for my blood.
30K, baby. Go big or go home. No. That'd be crazy. And you pack a punch my heat gun. Then it just like melt the tube instantly. Just like it melts those zombies in Call of Duty. You guys tried the new Call of Duty yet? What do you guys think? All right. So let's just get an idea so we make sure we don't bend it too short. Too short? So like right there. See, like right there where I'm kind of holding my fingers where I'm gonna go, because this is gonna be higher than this. So either way, I just bend it here. I'm comfortable, don't have to worry about it. And then I can cut this part short and cut this part short as far as going in there, so I don't have to trip on where I gotta bend the 90. Makes it easy, you know, laid back, chill. Just heating this guy up. Just waiting for it to be active. Getting there. Oh man, I love doing this stuff. If you guys have not tried this, you definitely should. I forgot to get my cold rag. Usually I have like a damp cloth that I'll just kind of put here, but I forgot to do it. I'll do it for the next one. So we'll just let this cool the old school way. This is our mandrel kit. I just basically mount it onto this board so it gives me a nice flat surface. So my tubes are nice and flat. So I got this angle and this angle covered by putting it on a board. Take this out. Use our little board because I cut it on a table saw, so I know everything's nice and straight. Make sure everything looks... I've got no imperfections or anything, or it didn't bubble or anything like that because it got heated too quick. But yeah, looking pretty clean like that. There we go. Then we'd have our little 90. So this is our 90, right? This is what we're going to use. We're going to be putting this into the system. Make sure this is cooled off before you pull your insert out, but it shouldn't be too bad. All right. Now I'm gonna let's just take these duders out. We'll tuck them away. Kind of hide those guys back in there. Oh, whoa, whoa, sorry. Not used to that. And we can kind of set this up here. Just kind of see we're close. And then all I can do is I can just kind of off step this. So you can see I'm basically bottomed out on my fitting. Make sure my fitting's level. You know, it's not like crooked or anything. And I got my fitting level right there like that. And then I can hold this like that. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark it right there because that's where I'm gonna cut it. So then we can cut this piece first and then we can move it in. And then we just cut it to get that height just right. I mean, it's close, but it does, as you can see the top of the tube, it's still a little bit tall and everything, but you know what? I need a Sharpie first. Or at least that's what I like to use. Some people like to use like dry erase, but when I'm doing cutting and everything, I'm not really all worried about it. You kind of just see, see how you have the different height? That's going to determine that length this way. Okay. Question, Steve? Steve, how we doing, Steve?
We're talking about that time I took down the stream because I was salty about the RTX.
Oh, the tears. The sweet tears that we tasted that day. Sorry, Steve.
Still salty about it.
I don't have a 30 series either, Steve. Only cool guys like that PC Works guy gets 30 series cards like all the day long. Just kidding, bro. Just kidding, bro. Good stuff. Good stuff. Then we got a little of that fun stuff to take out. We don't want that stuff getting in our loop. Usually just like to, it's kind of just like flick it out of there. It seems to work pretty good. We're gonna need this again. And just be careful. So a lot of times, like I'll have this, you get a couple of those pieces, they'll kind of get stuck inside and just kind of get stuck inside the tube right here. So we'll shake them out. You could blow them out. A lot of different ways to, kind of clean that stuff off. But you don't really need to worry about it too much until you're kind of getting, closer. So here we go. So now we have our tube link this way figured out, and then we just need to bring it down a little bit. So we're just going to eyeball this because we're crazy. And we're about a half fitting. See where the bottom of that is? Gonna be right there at the bottom, right in the middle of the fitting. So we're just gonna cut down a little bit on that. So let's cut a little bit down on that. Little bit at a time. Can't add it back. So I cut off like, see that little guy? Nice little piece. I forgot this song's got music, like wording to it. I like it. Good stuff. Yeah, we're live, baby. We're just doing some tube work today. Look at that, look at that. So we kind of set that up, look at that. So one of the things I just can't explain enough to people is just how cool it is to be able to see that point. To see that flat spot, knowing that tube is gonna go right there. And it's just the perfect length. You're not guessing that extra, like, what is it, 1/4 inch or whatever on a traditional fitting? Or an, I guess you would say it's not even a traditional anymore. It's just like an older style compression since it's changed so much. Let's just get all this stuff all over me instead of the table. Steve, we're gonna have to send the cleaning crew in here after this.
I'll book them right now.
Yes, please. Set our reservation. And then, so usually with this stuff, I like to, because you have like a little bit of a rough edge. So when you have a little bit of a rough edge, you can see this is just wet dry 400. And I don't get it wet because it doesn't really need to be. But then just like nothing too, just a little bit. All that does is just kind of give you a nice smooth edge. Gets any of the little burrs or anything off of there from, like, if sorry, I didn't mean to shake the head. Sorry.
Testing in progress.
See? The up close and personal sanding here with Thermaltake, baby. Nice and clean. Now we'll rinse this out, of course, when we're done, but for now, let's do a test fit. So you remember those sleeves that we took off? Now we got those sleeves right here. We'll go ahead and we'll put these dudes on. So you have your sleeve, O-ring, your middle. Now this middle insert has got 2 more O-rings in it, so that's 3. And then the 4th one is going to be the base plate. So I just kind of slide these guys on like so. You can kind of see. So like on this one right here, it's got a ring on this side, and then the other side is flat. So that's just, you always put the ring side, I guess, where the O-ring is. And you got like that. We'll bring this on over here. Wait. I always get it backwards, like which way is the which? We'll go ahead and we'll screw that in. We'll screw that in.
Screw with confidence.
Always. And then see, there we go. There's our first tube. This might be a little tall, might be a little whatever, but you know what? We got it in for now. We can go ahead and move forward with the next one. We might want to cut this and bring it down just a little bit. I'm also going to adjust my pump so that way when, see how this is kind of set up, so I'm going to have to offset my pump a little bit. But see how, like I was talking about how, I got that play. Let me see. You guys see how I got that play here with this? Because I didn't have everything tightened down yet. And this will come in handy. Take that stress out of your bending and everything. You get that nice straight line this way. You see? Just like you would get that nice straight line that way. You guys got it, dude. You know what I mean? It's just premium. Thermaltake premium.
Chef's kiss.
There we go, baby. All right. So that's one. Let's go to the next one. Let's get our handsaw out of the way. You guys got questions, let me know. We bending all day, baby. Well, not all day.
There's a comment on the chat.
Oh, we got a comment, baby. Let's go.
The comment is from Thermal Steve.
Oh.
Mike, tilt your head upwards so we can see what you're doing.
Oh, okay. No, thank you. You guys got to tell me. This is my first time. Let me adjust a little bit. I'm trying to make sure I'm not looking down too much, but at the same time, is that a little bit better? Is that better for you guys? Kind of seeing how I'm doing it. You guys tell me. You guys tell Steve, and then Steve will yell at me, okay? I'm here for you. If you don't like it, tell me. Actually, you know, this is bugging me. I'm going to cut the rest of this off right now because it's bugging me. It's just a little too tall. Oh, yeah. Just go ahead and just move forward with the other thing. Unless it starts to bother you, then just cut it off. Leave that other fitting on there so you know what end you're cutting so you don't cut the wrong end. It's important. Put a little piece of tape on it so you make sure you don't cut the wrong end off when you go and cut it and go to put it back and you're like, oh, I cut the wrong side. These things can happen when you're building. Can happen. But I just want to cut the smallest of small pieces. I mean, we're going for a world record here, folks. On thinnest PETG piece cut. Here's my entry.
I want a 1/16.
Dude, it's like a 1/16. Oh man. All right. But like I said, you know, you can always cut a little bit more off. Just make sure you're all good because you can't put it back. Just kind of flick some of that out of there. We'll rinse this out. Don't trip. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This side was bugging me, but it was just a little bit taller. Now it's looking good. Looking good. Okay. All right. Okay. So for this next one, let's do something cool like this. Is this a little too long? Let me see. Oh, you know what? This is probably going to be pretty good. We'll do like a cool little twist like this, and then we'll complement it with another one coming off for up here. And just do this. Yeah, I like that. Okay. So then moving on to tube number 2.
One little question for you, Mike. From
Yeah.
Radio Shakira. Hey, Mike, how does the cam feel on your head?
You know, I'm kind of worried that it's gonna hurt, you know, after a little bit, you know, a little fatigue from the weight, but surprisingly enough, the headset helps hold it on so it's not, you know, like pushing me forward, I guess. And the GoPro ain't too heavy, but this is definitely different, bro. And it's fun. This is fun. I'm really excited. I've wanted to try this. All right. So we got our little mock-up piece here. What we're gonna do for a little loop-de-loop. Loop-de-loop. We've done too many 90-degree bends and everything. We got to do some fun stuff, so. Chop that bad boy. Oh man, look at all the fun mess we're making. All right, so we got our little test piece here. And I'm gonna need some kind of like thermal mic mod mat. Trying to think of what I would want on the mat. Maybe some water cooling stuff, some bending stuff and everything, little like templates and everything. What to see. Whoa! Wet and wild here. See, so now we got our nice little insert, basically end to end on the tube. Because what we're gonna do is put this all in one piece, heat the middle, and then just connect, loop, connect, done. Because we used our insert to find out how long it would be to make that little loop-de-loop that we did right here. And I'll show you. This is the custom side. This is the handcrafted side. It's had a lot of use, so don't beat me up too much. All right, now, one little trick that I like to do, because C-Pro, is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put these fittings on already. So that'll give me that extra precious amount of seconds as far as where I'm gonna go and put this to connect it into. So I'm just get my, see? Get that set up right here. Yeah, whoa, 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 whoa. Sorry.
Good question.
Yeah, hey, what's up?
Fenris on Twitch is asking, are there any major differences between the Core P5 V2 and the TI variant?
The P5
V2.
V2 and then the TI was the color. And the other thing too was that in comparison between when you were looking at, like a P5, the motherboard would go this way. And then with the TI, we rotated it so that way the IO panel was actually on the top. So that, and it actually had the option to do both. It just had that extra modular motherboard tray that we added on there to allow you to rotate it because it was a wider type of chassis. But we have, that should be somewhat explained. It's there on the website. But those are pretty much the differences. One of the major differences, but then we got that nice gunmetal color too, which I thought was really nice. And I wanted to see more of that like gunmetal stuff. I think it'd be good.
That's the one I have. It's awesome, and I.
Oh, see, that's what Steve's got. Nice. All right. So since we're going to be doing a loop-the-loop, we want to heat a good part of this tubing up right here. So it's going to take a little bit longer, but yeah. Hang out to my sweet, sweet sounds of my heat gun. Now I'm just gonna rotate this. I'm just kind of just roll it because the fittings just allow me to roll this even easier. Got to be a pretty big piece, and you got to do it like all one shot if you want to do it. Hope you guys can. Yeah, you guys can see it. Cool. You got any questions, Steve? Now's the time, bro. Or if anybody has any questions while I'm doing this, let me know. Let Steve know.
Gaming with AC wants to know, what are the specs for this build?
Oh, okay. I'll go over that in a minute. The specs, huh? You want to know the fun stuff, huh? Let me get this tube in. See, I can see activation already because the tube's now laying on the wood, where it was just kind of suspended because it was straight, and now I'm getting some flexibility in it, but it needs a little bit more cook time. Yeah, it's getting wiggly now. Oh, come on, baby, come on. I need this time. Oh, I'm struggling here. We're gonna have to redo, maybe. No, maybe. It is a little warm, if you were wondering. just be safe with it. Oof. At least if I can get it in there. Ow. Sorry, I had to get up and personal with this thing. Now we can kind of play with it and do some things we want to do. You know, if you want something more where you get, you know, how you want the loop to be, right? And if you're careful, you can kind of come back because it's pretty warm already. So you're not starting from scratch. Yeah, sorry. Just to kind of get that. Because we took like forever putting that in, but. So then now you can change the loop, you know, as far as like how big you want it. You can kind of stretch this out. You can put it at like a cool angle if you want to put like an angle to it, and then do like a different little kind of spiral thing just to get something neat like this. Just kind of tighten it in there. Make sure everything's nice and, you know, you got a good setting on your tubing. So that way everything's in there. It's not going to be hitting any particular components. And a lot of that does with the length, you know, as far as like how long you're going to have from one to the other. And then just make sure your fittings are nice and secure. You got something like that, and just kind of let it sit there and cool off. Another thing I'll do too is just take a rag, take that same soapy water that I got. You know, just something like this. And then once I got that shape that I want, I'll just kind of, you know what I mean? Just do this just to kind of rapid cool it so it doesn't sag or kind of dip out from where you wanted it. So you can get like you can get this cool little like 45 kind of fun little spiral thing right there. I'll make sure we clean our pretty motherboard. All right, we'll just let that just take a quick little hot minute to cool. So let's talk a little bit about the system. So right here, this is our Aorus. This is the B550 motherboard. This is ATX form factor motherboard from our good friends over at Aorus. And we're using, what do we got? We got a 3600 XT CPU behind that W7 CPU water block right there. So we're doing a 3600 XT. I got basically 4 sticks of memory in here. This is our tough RAM. This I believe is 3600 speed. And then those are by 8. So I got 32 gigs of sweet tough RAM memory installed into that. This right here is an Asus Strix 1080 Ti. Good old classic, our famous loved 1080 Ti GPU block. And then of course, you know, we partnered up with Asus Strix to make a custom block, which I like. It's got this cool, you know, you got the little plate right here. It's got the fun little reflections in it and all that stuff. But yeah, fits in here pretty good. Oh, I bent these pins right here. Have to fix those. Yeah, it's good. But yeah, no, fun little water block. I mean, full coverage plate on here. It's got a nice back plate in here in the back. It's all aluminum too. So you get the front plate and the back plate, and that stuff's all put together and it does its job. You know, cooling performance just is amazing on the GPU side compared to stock air cooling. I mean, you drop 30 Celsius at least, if not more. Once, you know, if you got everything mounted right and you get, you know, you get that nice sandwich good, you know, thermal paste, thermal pads, no gapping. You get some really good performance out. You get a sweet look too, because you'll get the coolant flowing through here. It's gonna flow up in here to our CPU block, and then we're gonna do our CPU to rad here as far as tube number 3 here in just a minute. Let's go ahead and we'll take this guy out now. He should be cool. So I get this one off.
Are you ready for a multi-part question?
Ooh, multi-part question. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Fenris from Twitch asks,
Whoops.
multi-part question. Part 1.
Yeah.
In regards to future wall-mounted cases, any reason orienting the motherboard and GPU down wouldn't work well, specifically so that all the cables come out the bottom?
So instead of having like, say like, because like the motherboard was like this, but you're saying to have it reversed so it goes the other way down towards the bottom?
Yes.
Ah. I mean, it's always an option, right? You could put the power supply like in the back and then like have like, you know, extend the width and then put the power supply like in the back of the case. And then that way you could do like a full rotation on it. I mean, the only thing that's really limiting you here on even just this case, when you look at it, is the power supply. You take this thing out of the equation, this motherboard could basically go just about anywhere. I mean, you could do different rotations with that. Same with the rad. I mean, the one thing that I liked with the 350p was that we added a bracket that went from here to here. But sadly, it's only for the 350p. It's a different size than the P3 ones, because I already asked. But it was something of interest. Once the 350p came out, it was like, hey, can we make an extra bracket, you know? Huh?
And part 2.
And part 2, yes, I forgot. This was a...
Given our dedication to water cooling, plans to create something similar to Distrocase 350p, but wall mountable and with an integrated radiator.
Oh, with an integrated radiator. That's an interesting idea. I mean, the one thing with the distro case that I would say is that when you're looking at something that's like an entire distro case, it's expensive. That's a lot of acrylic back there. And then if you're looking at milling for being able to have a radiator mount, like built into it, or like say you had a cutout for it, right? So instead of having a wall of coolant, there was that space that was cut out for like the radiator right here. I mean, I could definitely see it as an option, but it'd be really, really pricey. And I think one of the things that we really wanted to do, at least as best as we could with the 350p, was to make it as most affordable as possible. Because stuff like that is not cheap. And it's definitely difficult to make. But I think we pulled it off with the 350p coming in at the price point it did. It's definitely not your everyday case, but in comparison to other stuff that's out there in the market, lead time and price point, I think it fits real well. And I love the case. We're actually going to be revisiting our 350p for a Cyberpunk week on December 8th. So we'll have some fun stuff there getting ready for the Cyberpunk launch. So finally, right? Finally. So we'll have some fun with that.
Assuming it doesn't get delayed.
Assuming. Oh, and I got to put our base plate back in here. Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Have you guys pre-ordered? You guys pre-ordered Cyberpunk yet? Waiting for it to come out? What do you guys think? Should we pre-order it? Let's just see how this... Get that guy lined up right there. There we go. We got a fun little tube. We got a fun little tube right there. And I mean, we could do a bunch of different things. That's just one way to do it. Another thing I really like doing is a 90, and then I'll come over here and do like a 180, and then I'll come back over here and do another 180, but then I'll like canter it 45. So when this comes out straight, I'll lay it back so that way my spacing here is not where the tube ends here. It's laid back more, but then it kind of comes across the RAM, and then it will kind of block our RAM from our RAM coming out. It's a cool look, but at the same time, you want to make sure you get your memory out. This makes it easy, you know? This makes it easy. And then also to show you guys, you know, where you're not just dealing with too much stress on stuff like this, and show you how easy it is to do hard tube cooling. All right. Okay, now let's, okay. That's gonna be too big. Now what if we want to do, See, I like to use my insert like this, you know, and I'll do these weird things with my hands. And I'll kind of just get the idea of like the shape I want to do. Maybe I want to bring it in so I do like, you know, like the same kind of thing, right? Where I kind of mimic that bend the same and then kind of swing it over this way. But this guy looks like it's a little too short. So let's get some more inserts. All right, so this guy was a little bit shorter. Ho-ho! This guy might be the winner. All right. Oh, here's another little fun thing that I like to do too. So I take those little C-Pro dudes. Get this put in here. Can you guys see okay? Everything good? My big finger's in the way. Sorry. Let's see, how I do that, then I can kind of put these in here and then I can take my hands away from it, right? And then we could do like a cool little, we're kind of keeping our shape, keeping that nice straightness there. Then we can do like a similar little bend coming over this way. Try to see how we can match that loop out. We might want to go a little bit longer on the insert, but it gives us a good idea as far as doing like the first one, right? Okay. Oh. Back over here to our custom side. And then we're gonna need some more tubing. Oh my God. All right. I'm gonna go a little bit longer, just a little bit longer. Our board over there. So that's the one we want. That guy down there. We're really gonna need that cleaning crew to come in to later, Steve.
Already booked.
How are you guys doing? How's everybody doing? Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Welcome to Thermaltake Live. I'm Thermal Mike. This is water cooling. Stay a while and listen.
PC Works is in the house.
Will, what's up, man? Just hanging out on a Tuesday. We got some liquid cooling. We got some helmet cam stuff going on. Hope you guys are well. Don't explode, don't explode. All right, there's our next little dude. Now this one we got to be a little bit more careful with as far as where we're going to do our bends. Mostly because we want that nice straight piece that's going to come off and then bend down over where the CPU is. So we're going to want to take a look at that a couple times to kind of plan out how we're going to do it and see where we're going to need to heat. And then, you know, if it doesn't work out, we'll just reheat it and just kind of adjust as we go from there. See, this post is in my way. Post is in my way. This guy right here, simple enough when you're doing this. I love it. Just take the post out. Oh, and drop the screw down lost in the abyss forever. No, it's in there somewhere.
Lost in the abyss.
Lost in the abyss forever. Let's say, look, there you go. And that way it kind of, kind of looking at where I want to bend. Because where do I want to do my part where I'm going to kind of loop back around into here? So I'm kind of looking at like something like probably about like right here-ish. And then I'm going to probably heat a section like that. Something like that. We'll try it out, see what happens. If we don't like it, we'll make a new one. Let's just make sure, yeah, so we're gonna be good like that. Just say somewhere like there. Now, I don't normally do this anymore. I used to, but I'll do this for you guys. And a lot of that is what I'm gonna do is I'll just have like a, well, here. So if I like set this up and I wanna figure out where I want to heat and how far I want to heat, or where's my kind of stopping point. I want to heat this way, not that way, because I want this nice and straight before I do my bend. So I'm going to be probably about right there. Put a little piece of tape right there. This little pinstripe tape. Go back and look at it, and I just know this is going to be my mark where I'm going to heat this way. I want to keep this nice and straight, so I don't want to heat too much, and then this will come off and clean up pretty easily. And this just give me like another little guide point, right? And then of course with that, we're gonna just throw our C Pros on here again. Just so that way we got our fittings, get these guys on here. All right. So then, yeah, you're looking at this and then you have this part, and then you might have to, you don't want to deal with a lot of that stuff. I'll take another little piece. Kind of just loosely so it overhangs, and then I'll just kind of keep it there. So that way you don't got to deal with like one, you only got like one really to deal with. You know what I mean? And then that way I'll kind of keep it there so it's out of your way. Because this is pretty much just going to go into here, but we don't want to, while we're heating it, we don't want to mess with it too much, or whatever works good for you. Just showing you guys some things.
Neat question.
Oh yeah, hey, what's up? Question.
Chris on YouTube asks, how do you bend the tubes after the heat gun?
How do I bend the tubes after the heat gun?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to do that right now. Watch, and you can see. So here's my tube. Wait, hold on. Take a drink real quick. All right. When I'm doing a longer piece like this, I like heating it with the gun and I'm pointing down. Meaning that I'm going to be like this, heating it. Where I could set it up like this and I could go across. But this is extra work. I don't know. And the thing I like is that when you're heating this way, the heat bounces off the wood and it absorbs that, and it heats more of the area around it more evenly, and it just works.
It just works.
So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna heat this up so we can get the tube activated, and then we're gonna bum rush to get it thrown in the system. Now you got a little bit of time, but you don't got a lot. Getting there. Get that guy secured in there. Hold this tube so it doesn't twist the tube when you're tightening the fitting, because you don't want it to twist the bend. I'm just trying to... And it's a little warm. But then once you get it kind of close to where you want to be, and then it's like right when you get to the cooling time, where it's not blistering hot, but it's still pliable. That's the moment. That's the moment you have. And look how simple that is. And I mean, I could heat this and change this, you know, if I wanted to have more of a curve and make this a little bit longer, if I want to come this out more, or I could go back and I could reheat this and do it a little bit different and line it up better. But either way, I think it looks pretty good. Go ahead and we'll peel our tape off. And then we'll just let that guy sit there and cool a little bit. Gives us some fun little like freehand work kind of stuff. Makes it a lot easier than having to try to figure out like 90s and everything, and you can go a little wild with it. I mean, I could have done like a corkscrew kind of thing going in there just the same. It's just going to take more tubing and probably a couple more tries, you know? But other than that, it shouldn't be too bad. I'll get the rest of that off when it's cool. But the important thing is making sure that you get that tubing flat against the wall into the fitting. The design itself is more or less irrelevant. It's just your aesthetics and your look as far as what you want to do. You got that cool little, like, kind of like a twisty, fun thing. Because why not? Make sure this guy's nice and cool. Or it's cool enough, like it's rigid, you know what I mean? Kind of finesse it a little bit.
Finesse.
Need a little finesse. Just a little finesse. And see, look at that. Right there. Right there. That's what's important. Use my Sharpie. Comes in handy. Oh, let's... Got to get this little bit of glue off here. Hand tight. You don't got to crank these down. Don't trip on it. Don't trip on it. Okay. We got some fun little bends going on there. We're missing a post. It looks weird without the post. But it works. I'm going to leave this post in because I want to make sure that when I do the bend for it, that it's not going to hit the bend as I come out and spiral it to go down into this pump res right here. Right. pretty cool. This piece should be long enough. If I showed Thermal Steve on the cam at any time, I apologize, but he does want to be shown. We're gonna have to work something out here.
I don't consent. I'm joking.
No, he's the best.
Blink twice for help.
That's a good one. That's a good one. We're gonna have to save that one. All right. Oh, you know what? Kind of see what I mean? You can put some more twists in it and we can just make a nice little down stem like that. Yeah. Okay. Now, a lot of times when I'm doing stuff like this, I'll do tube 1, I'll do the second tube. You know, I'll kind of be looking at the system and be like, you know, this looks cool. I kind of like this little idea, but maybe I want to change this later and everything. Get the system done. You know, get that last tube, get something complete, then go back, look at this. Do I need to cut this a little bit more? Do I want to reshape this one and do something different? Or maybe change this up and do something different, but at least you'll have everything kind of set and you can kind of look at it as a, you know, look at it at a whole and then kind of, you know, go to judge like going, you know, I want my coolant to flow this way. You can do some different things. Hey, this is for you.
Obi.
See, it's like usually I'll cut this on the floor and then I'll make a giant mess on my table, but this Thermaltake Live, baby, we got to show you guys everything. So then I got my tube. Just make sure I don't have any little leftover pieces because I don't want it to. The reason why is like if you have little pieces that are like left inside the tube, when you go to put your insert in, you don't want those little pieces catching on the insert and then like scratching or doing like little micro scratches on the inside. So always try to make sure you get at least most of those chunks out of there, like the big ones. Kind of clean that up. You know, again, like I was saying, just kind of give it a little scuff and go back and do this to the other tubes when you go to do the rinse and everything, because you're gonna have to, you know, rinse them out and all that stuff. Little edge pieces. I'm picky. Man, I've gotten this stuff just get clips right on your fingernail. Oof, those are the worst. All right, got a big piece. This looks kind of crazy with the condensation in there. All right, move my microphone out of the way so I don't get out of the splash zone. Go. I'm like, dusted myself off. Oh man. Hope you guys are having a good day. Thanks for tuning in, watching Thermaltake Live. Doing some water cooling, hanging out.
Thanks for entertaining me.
And entertaining Steve. That's definitely important. We must keep Steve entertained. All right. Oh yeah, my fitting's right here. See, you guys can see. What do you guys think of my cool little hat cam? Is this helping you guys get a closer look at what I'm doing? I hope so. I want to do something. This is like my prototype. Be doing a couple of the things here too. All right, so this is gonna be a big piece to heat. So what we're gonna be looking at is a huge shot like this. And it's crazy to think that something this big is gonna twist up into like a little space like that. But that's why using the insert to get that idea, as far as how we're rotating and how we're doing it, that helps you to judge like how big this is gonna be. So you're not cutting a short piece and you're too short or you're too long and you're like in the mid bend, right? And then you have to cut a little bit off just to get it to go down. Cause like ideally when you're dealing with something like this, you're gonna go right into the G1/4 fitting and you're done. For this one, we're doing something a little bit more custom because that's what I am all about. And we got a 45 degree, I basically cut this at a 45, as you can see, and I polished it and everything. So it's got a nice smooth polish right around the edge right here. Looks pretty clean. It gives it that transparent look when you wet sand it.
The art of the swirly, please.
What? More swirly?
Yes.
It's all about your prep. It's all about the prep. All about that prep. Look how big this piece is. I want to see where I want to start. Okay. Oh, let me fix my hat cam here. There we go. All right, now this is gonna take a good bit for me to heat all this up. So if you guys have particular questions or anything, feel free to let us know. Either in regards to the water cooling or the case. I think we also have some links that we threw up too on Amazon to show you guys a list of all the parts that we're using today in the build. So if you guys were curious about what I'm using, you'll be able to see that right there and get those buy links straight from Amazon. I think Steve has that link. You got that link, Steve?
What was it again?
The Amazon.
Yeah, the command? Right.
Oh, I didn't know, but you got the link though?
Yeah.
Do we have that link? Let's see if we can get that link in there. We're trying out a couple other things too, because what we want to do is be able to give you guys a link to be able to kind of see what this costs. All the different parts, get an idea of the individual parts that we're using, on the build while we build it. And then if you guys want to go check it out, you can go check it out. But yeah, this is going to take a good bit. I'm pretty much heating most of this except for maybe about 4 or 5 inches off the bottom. That's going to be our down stem. Because if the down stem's a little bit longer, we can always just trim it to fit. But we do want it to go down pretty far into that res. And a lot of this is all about just even patience heating. Bigger the piece, the longer it takes. And we got our wet rag right here on standby. Getting that flexibility. I think that's pretty good for a first try. Let's see. Gotta go quick. And then see what you're gonna wanna make sure you do is keep that rotation. And yes, this is hot, but it's not too bad. And then you can do a couple of different twists with that. The good thing is the bottom of this isn't hot from where we had it, but I'm just trying to hold it here because I like this shape. Let me move my, hold on. It's all about that cooling time. Got a little bit, and you can just do a little bit of, you know, like that last minute adjust. I want to make the bigger one bigger or smaller, and just how I want to float that insert. I want to bend that guy in there a little bit. So I got a nice radius. You get that nice look, and we're already cooling off. The problem is this damn thing is dry. That's okay. We can do it the old school way. Make sure we got clearance from our fans. How we want to position that. Get those last little tweaks in there where it's just floating. It's just floating. What do you guys think? Not so straight, they can't even really. And see, I had the down stem. See how it's more here versus in here? I could heat this back up and kind of bend it in more so that I could have it like more towards like the middle. The other thing, because I mean, ideally, because see how close that is to the fan right there? But I could cut this off. I could cut a little bit off the tube up here. And then once I cut off the tube, sorry. Once I would cut off like the tube right here, then I could bring it back. But you want to make sure that you got to watch that gap spacing because I made that real tight like that. Off of there. So, I mean, ideally, we got what we wanted for the most part. But we want to just do a little bit of tune on it. Because see, we got this cool little, got a cool little spiral right going on right here. Okay. Gives us that nice little looped around down. And then because of the fact that I cut off the top of the reservoir, we're just making our own downstem this time, just to have some fun. But what I want to do is I want to make this go back a little bit more. Come right over here. I'm not going to heat the whole thing up, just a little bit. Basically this last rotation. And I mean, if I wanted to do more loops, I could do more loops, but then at that point, all I'm doing is, you know, I have more tube I need to add. And we're not trying to make this like crazy pliable, but just enough so we could like fine tune it, I guess. And you see, I can go back and I can kind of just retweak this a little bit. Oh, make sure my fitting's in there. I want to keep that springy look. I'm gonna bring that guy in a little. Because it's got nothing to mount on the bottom and it's just kind of free floating, it's a little bit more difficult. There we go. That just gives me a little bit more of the, a little bit more on the center part of it. And then you can kind of adjust that as far as what's going to work good with that. And that way you got a cool little bend there right there, you know? That way I can get that insert back out. We'll go back in here and do a little test fit. Now, one thing I didn't mention that I probably should have, but one thing that I do like to talk about is when I'm doing stuff like when I'm doing anything like this where I'm doing the tube work and I have soapy water and I have an insert, a lot of times what I like to do with stuff like this is I'll just put like a rag down here at the bottom where, you know, like I would, like if you take that out, like I would do something like this. Like even if you had a cap on it, I'd put paper towels in here just so that way none of the soapy water drips down into the pump and it's just down here in the bottom. You don't even see it. So you'd have something like that because you don't even want one drop going down into that little hole right there. And there we go. Okay. Yeah. Clearance for my fans, no issues with that. Gives me a fun little loop-the-loop. Twisty did. Couple more twisty guys there, and you got your OG 90-degree bend into the GPU. Nice little straightforward little build that you can do here in what? What was that, about an hour and a half? About an hour and a half? Not too bad. Good little day of bending. And of course, you could do this a bunch of different ways. I mean, I really like doing the spiral. I could do more loops with the spiral and do more stuff in there with that, or something like this where I have this going over to the CPU and the CPU, GPU. Oh man, I could do a bunch of different things with it, but I think overall it turned out pretty good. I mean, it's funny because a lot of it's real transparent right now, so you really can't see too much of it. So I know the next thing you're going to ask me is, well, Mike, Thermal Mike, what's it going to look like with the coolant inside? Well, hey, let's get going on that. But we got to do a couple of things first. First and foremost, we're going to have to take all of our tubes back off. So let's go ahead and pull this bad boy back off. And it's just going to take me a little bit to kind of rinse these guys out on the down low while I'm live here. But yeah, if you guys have any particular questions, I am open while I am going forward with prepping my tubes so that we can put some coolant in here.
Well, I have a question for you that's an interesting one.
Oh, what's the question?
On the simple side, but posing it here just because I want your thoughts on it.
Sure. What's the question?
New follower.
Okay.
He's asking. He's building his first PC, but he wants to use the hard drive on his PS4 as the main drive. He asks, does he have another PC to reformat, or can he reformat it from the same PC?
Oh, he should have no problem being able to reformat it from the same PC. I mean, you're going to plug it in. Is it going to be detectable is the question. I think ideally what you're going to want to know is if the drive is actually going to be able to be detected. And a lot of that determines on what the format is for the drive as far as like, you know, what PlayStation uses, you know what I mean? Kind of an out of the box question for sure on that, because I'm not really sure the way like, you know, PlayStation stuff works, but theoretically a drive's a drive. If it has a SATA port on it, you can connect it, sure, right into the system. If Windows is going to detect it, that's all going to determine on what's going on with the format. A lot of other guys that have probably dealt with PS5 stuff and stuff like that could probably help you out with that, or jump in a forum and see if there's anything specific you might have to do. Same thing like if you had like a Mac drive and you wanted to plug it in and everything and try to get the files off of it, I guess, to give you some type of context. All right. Oh, we got one more. We'll go ahead and we'll take our tubes off. Oh, we gotta dive for this. Where is it? There it is. Get our post back in here. Oh. Where'd it go? Oh, of course it went there. Dude. Thread the needle. All right. Go ahead and get our post back on here. All right. Kind of looking over stuff. Making sure what I did made sense. Yep. All right. Move this guy over here. Trying to think. I have some specialty coolant here to play with too. Yo, Steve, hey, you want to hand me that? Do you mind?
Yes.
I know. No. Trash can.
Oh. It's my trash can.
No, it's not.
Hi.
I forgot a bucket. So ideally with a lot of what this is going to be is that you'd have distilled water in here, and then I would go and just kind of rinsing the tubes out, getting all the soapy water out of there, or in the little pieces from like the tubing from when you cut it. We're going to want to get all that kind of stuff out. I'm kind of doing this on the quick. I would do this a little bit different if I wasn't live streaming it, but I think you guys would get the idea. And then basically we're just doing the dishes. Basically like to push distilled water through both ends. So I'll kind of just give it a little squirt, let it push through, and then kind of go through the tube. Then I'll flip it around and I'll do the same thing going through the other side, just so I get the ends real well. Any little pieces or anything that I would have. Just a good way to flush. So you make sure you get all the debris. Sorry, I'm trying not to shake the camera. Sorry. Okay. So we got our pieces done. Just gave them a nice little rinse. Made sure we got all the stuff out of them. I didn't have a second bottle, so I just used coolant to rinse it out. So that's why if it looks a little foamy, that's all that it is. I just did the expensive way. So don't hate me.
Judging you.
Judge me. Hey, I have the stuff ready and available. Cause yeah, the rinsing and stuff is really, it's something that, I usually don't do particularly on camera with videos and stuff that I would do. And I always want to make sure that everything's all out of the system. Cause the last thing you want is a little piece, from like this stuff that's been cut. You know what I mean? If you can even see this, but like the little pieces that were cut off of the tubing and everything, you don't want those to get in there because you don't want that to get down into the propeller, into your pump. Granted, your pump's probably going to chew it up and have no problem with it. But I guess worst case scenario is you don't want that going across your jet U block. And then with that being there, it's going to block it, right? And it's going to start like a clog, and it's going to start at this, or it's going to start at that. And you just want to avoid it. Thanks, man. I'm glad you like the hat camera. I hope you guys are digging this. I'm really trying to do something that gives you guys more of like a first-hand look at, you know, FPS shooting, FPS tubing.
Trademark that.
RTX on. But I mean, to be able to do live tube bending like this, oh man, you guys, I've been so excited to do this stuff. I really hope this helps you guys out too if you're ever thinking about getting into it.
Dude, I want to do it.
Dude, look at that. And we got our pretty little tubes all ready to go. We got our coolant over here. We got our system over here. We got our games ready. Let's get it put together. All right. So I have most of that stuff. Yeah, EPS, all that plugged in. I got to plug the graphic card cables back in, but let's go ahead and put the tube in first. Because then that's the clearance. So we'll go ahead and we'll get this guy in. You guys see that? Oh, no. Sorry. I'm learning. This is my first concept hat cam, AKA the new thermal cam.
Thermal cam.
We'll have to get a cool little name for this thing if you guys dig this. And we'll definitely have to do more of this. Hat might have been sliding back a little bit, sorry. But it is yeah, it's all learning. It's all learning and trying new things for you guys. And here's the other thing that I like too, is that because I did it this way, look, I could put this in this way, or if I swapped it back around the other way, then this is the way we did it, right? So you kind of have two different looks. And sometimes when you go to put this in, you go to put it in backwards, you might go like, oh, it looks better that way. You never know. Because that was actually giving me like more of a tabletop over, around, and down and in. And I mean, it goes either way because it's the same space. Okay. Got those in there. I really like these Black Sea Pros too. They're very clean. Nice little white rim accent around them and everything. Perfect for just like a nice clean black and white build. Or if you want to add color to it like white and you want to offset that color so you're not just doing too much white, you know what I mean?
Best fittings on the market. Fight me.
Yep. Changed my mind.
Yep.
I dare you. There is no fitting better in the market today. I'd love to see more adapters though. I know you guys would too. We came out with some more colors too, beginning of the year, before all this fun stuff happened at CES. Now we got red and white adapter fittings and stuff. So we're working on it. We got progress. But you know, for me, I want it all. I want it all.
Or nothing at all?
No. I'll take what I can get. I'll take what I can get. But if you ask me if I want more, it's a big hell yes. Get this last little duder in here. Now, what's going to be really fun about this is that we can just pour it straight into the top of the res. Be pretty easy to just kind of just dump that in there. And like I said, I have my pump it too. You can definitely go a little bit higher, like go to like maybe like a 3. But even for something like this, I don't think a 5 is something you need. I don't think a 5 is something you need. I'm just checking all my fittings, making sure. Gotta even make sure these little dudes are good. They have to be crazy. They just gotta be on there. Okay. Now then, what I was talking about earlier with the pump. Let's get that pump action. Because usually I would have locked this down already and got the feet and everything kind of figured out already. So that way I would have secured this down, but we're just going to shoot from the hip because we're live. But either way, that gives that nice little parallel right there. You know what I mean? It's got to look good on both angles. Yeah. Spend an extra 10 seconds and double tighten everything down. Check it all again. Do it. You'll thank me later.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, you don't want to gorilla grip them down either, though. You want the O-ring to do its job. Okay. All right, so we have that set. Oh. I'm like, oh, where's this? Where's that? No. Okay. So then here is, this right here is our pump power. So we're going to need to power this. And then, of course, with that, you know what, Steve? I am going to need that power cable. Can you
No, it's my cable.
That's mine.
You said I could have it.
You want to hand me my...
It's like that RTX.
Come on in here, baby. Thank you, Steve. Look at that. What a nice guy. What a nice guy. All right, so then we got our pump power ready for that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect our 24 pin. So that way our 24 pin is disconnected from the system because this is our extension. And we're going to use the 24 pin. Then, I got right here is our little jumper. This is a little 24 pin jumper. I love that we include this with our liquid cooling kits. It's a lot safer and a lot easier than doing the paperclip method because it basically just does it for you like that. So I really like how that we've been including that with a lot of our water cooling kits. And then, of course, Molex power. All right.
Solid question for you over from Xerxes on YouTube.
Yes, Xerxes, what do you want? How can I help you?
How do you test your line before adding fluid?
I mean, I'd really like to see, I usually basically just leak test it now. I've been doing this stuff a lot where, you know, I've done stuff where I've built it like this, like you would see live on a stage, and then we'd have to fill coolant in it. I don't even get the chance to really test it. It's just like a one and done, go for it. If it doesn't leak, you're the best. If it leaks, you suck. I mean, I've been there on a couple of occasions, but, I mean, with the C-Pro fittings and everything, I'm really not too worried about it because I can see that 0 point. A lot of this stuff, I've been doing it for years, so I would say that I'm pretty comfortable with not having to deal with something like that. Ideally, jumpering the system is a safe way to go because when you do that, then the system itself is off. The power is off to the motherboard, your graphics, you know, all that kind of stuff. So you don't have to worry about any power going through anything. So if there is a leak, it's not on. And then that'll give you time to take it apart, clean it, dry it, depending on what kind of scenario you have, right? But I'd really like to see like an air pressure test from Thermaltake. Those things look pretty cool. And, you know, being able to do a PSI test and everything like that, man, I'd love to see one from Thermaltake. Something that we can use. And then see like even like down here, like with this. So I'd have my little 45 extension. This is gonna be my drain. Same with my other drain that I have down here on my radiator. Making sure these fittings, these connections are tight. Make sure this is actually screwed on there and it's off. Let me see. Off. And just make sure that stuff's nice and tight because you don't want a leak coming out of any of that stuff. And that's all going in there. But one of the things that I like, you know, I mean, even if it did leak from like right here, the cool thing is it's pretty much out of the way. It's really just going to kind of go down here and make a mess on your table. It's not going to pour in your power supply at least. Okay, we got that set up. We got that set up. We got it jumpered. Get my cable. Now, let me see, I swing this bad boy around here. Because what we're going to want to make sure is, because as soon as we hit the power, because it's jumpered, right? We're going to flip the switch on the power supply. that coolant's going to start going. So I just want to make sure I get this set up because I want you guys to see this too while I do this. I'm running my cables over, so bear with me. Got a lot of cables now. Yeah, I hope I can find a little bit better solution to give you guys some more viewing of stuff like this with the system builds. Okay. I think I need to... plug it in that way, and I could bring, okay, I can bring that over so you guys can kind of, yeah. All right. That way you guys can kind of see how this is gonna fill, because then I can just be right here filling this up, and you guys can watch all the fun, and I don't get to see anything. I'll be back here, hiding. You know? Okay. Thinking. Did we forget anything? No, I think everything's good. I didn't plug the GPU cables in yet because I don't want power going to it. So I just left those out. If you were wondering, they're hanging down back there. We'll plug them in later. My fans have power. I think. I don't know if I plugged the box in. I might not have plugged the box in yet, but that's fine. The fans don't need to turn on right now. Okay. All right, so the next step that we're gonna do is we're gonna be filling this up. So we have our reservoir right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start filling this reservoir up. I wanna get a good amount of coolant going in here. So that way, basically when I turn the pump on, I'll refill my little fill bottle and then that'll give me a nice, like a better push that's going. And then this right here is an unreleased coolant. This is a specialty coolant that we have been concepting for a while now at Thermaltake. And it's something that I would really like to see come to market. But, you know, things happen, COVID stuff happens, and we have to wait a little bit. But rest assured, it's something we're still talking about. Easy cables. Don't want to run that HDMI over. Okay. So I got that filled up. You know, it's there. You can kind of see it. Kind of look at it sloshing around in there. And then we're just gonna, before we go and do the first one, we're just gonna top this guy off. But yeah, I apologize. This coolant is at the moment not for sale. I want to show you guys what we've been working on. I've been using this in a lot of our show build stuff at the beginning of the year. We've been doing a lot of extensive testing with it. Mostly because we want to make sure that a coolant solution, especially one with like a 3D effect like this, is going to be something that's not going to cause you a problem. Effect is always going to degrade over time, and I've seen it. I've run it in my system for almost 2 years now. About a year and a half, maybe. I've changed it 3 times. No, 2 times. 2 times. Just to see the effect difference and everything like that, or to see the extended buildup that I would get from like filling it and then draining it and then filling it again without rinsing everything out or taking everything apart. I'm doing a lot of different things to see longevity testing of it. And it's not easy. Okay. So we got our power cable over there. We have our system set up and ready to go. What do you guys think? You guys ready? Oh, let me get them on. For the splash zone. So I got that. I got more coolant. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip our power over here. And then we're going to start filling it as fast as possible. And then we're going to have to switch it back off. So let me make sure my microphone's out of my way so that I can access both of these fairly quickly. And then you guys can sit there and watch it. My pump's gonna go dry like that. Let's go back over here. Let's turn it off just to be safe. And I think we got a pretty good first push. Got a pretty good first push out of that. Right on. Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's fill it up a little bit more. Now this is basically our white base custom coolant that we have. We also have a silver base that we're working on, but I really like this nice clean white. I think it complements real well when you mix up black, white, and chrome like this with a case. Just got a fresh, no buildup. And now this has been sitting over there for a while, but I know you guys don't believe me. Woo! It gets heavy. There we go. That was interesting. Okay. Rinse and repeat. You guys ready for the twisty, turny, loopy down? I am. I'm just gonna watch on the stream. Look at that. Oh, we got return, baby. Look how that white just really accents it and just gives that nice, cool little look to it. So fresh, so clean.
I need it!
Right? No, I don't want to rip the power cable out. Yeah. Doing something like this is definitely something a little bit more custom. I mean, dude, I haven't even looked. Is it leaking anywhere? No. I don't know. C-Pros, baby. Thermal mic approved. C-Pro fittings, guys. Now, a lot of this stuff you're going to see, the system's going to run for a little bit. I might let this system run for about 15, 20 minutes. Maybe I don't. You know what I mean? I could do a bunch of different things with it. I could run this for 15, 20 minutes just to make sure everything seems chill. You know, I want to go take a break because, you know, hey, we've been bending for a couple hours, right? Everything looks good. You just want to kind of make sure everything settles in. Everything seems real good. Then once everything's cool, then you can go ahead and shut the system off, which is what we will do now. We'll disconnect our 24 pin. Plug that guy back in there. Now I got the, let me see, did I plug the power? Oh no, I didn't plug the power of the controller. Let me just throw that guy in there.
Mike, while you're doing that,
yeah.
For some of our late joiners.
Oh yeah, what's up?
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about your 45-degree reservoir? Questions are, does it always stay open?
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as the way this is, I mean, I basically just cut the top off of it because I wanted to do something a little bit different. I mean, it's for fun. It's really not something that I would say would be practical because you're going to have a lot of evaporation because of the fact that everything is open. So that coolant's open. Yes, you could have an issue where like dirt and dust and all those weird things that you're stressed about could fall in there. That could happen. But I'll tell you right now, this thing sat in my office for like a year and a half like this. And it's not like it got all dirty. I mean, I might have had like a little gnat or two over time, you know, kind of accidentally land in there. And hey, you know, hey, I fished him out. You know what I mean? But it's custom, baby. So you just kind of play with it, you know, just like a custom hot rod. You know, you want to have a higher cam, you know, you want to do tighter timings. Hey man, you pay for that performance, you deal with that performance. But I mean, something like this, just a nice aesthetic look. It works perfectly fine. The only issue you need to make sure is that downstem that we created with our tubing, which is now our downstem as well, you just want to make sure the coolant level is above it. So as we're, you know, kind of doing our thing, just add a little bit more in here because I know I got it's probably in there about a good inch, give or take. So I know it's not like right there at the end. I definitely don't want it like pouring down and in because in this way right here, I'm more or less creating a vacuum. I don't have any air going through the system, and an air I do have in the system is more or less being bleeded out right now with me just basically doing the leak test. You just got to top it off a little bit more, but man, doesn't it look cool. It's definitely something different. I want to show you guys something different for the show, for Thermaltake Live. You know, I'm Thermal Mike, baby. We got some fun stuff. But like right now, it's just, you know, it's just kind of sitting kind of loose right now. Everything's looking pretty good. We plugged our 24 pin back in. Plugged all that other fun stuff back in. Let's go ahead and let's flip the power. I think I hooked up the front. Let's see. Oh, I did hook it up. Cool. There we go. Turn the system on now. So basically, this would be our initial boot into the system. I'm going to have my 3 fans running, my CPU block. I got my tough RAM. Everything's all RGB'd out right now because we got to get Windows installed. We got to get software going. We go in there and we set up a nice, cool little white profile. You know, maybe have it rock into the music we're playing, you know, once we get everything set up, and we're good to go. You know, this GPU block, one of our older blocks, it's a 1080 Ti. We started adding RGB to that because I know you're probably thinking right now, man, that water block needs some RGB. We already have that. We've been doing that for a while. A lot of this is just kind of testing stuff. And again, I'm excited to see our new 30 series blocks when they come out. It's gonna be a lot of fun doing some builds with those. I'm gonna get right down and dirty with it. We're gonna take it apart, thermal pad by thermal pad, and put it all together and throw it into a system for you guys so we can show you guys firsthand how to take everything apart and do that for the new blocks. We've been doing it for a while with the blocks that we've had here. I think since 9 series for NVIDIA. We've done some stuff with AMD. I'd like to see what we're going to do with future projects like that as well. But at the same time, I mean, if I had something like this, I could easily grab like a Lumi strip, and I could put a Lumi strip with double-sided tape up underneath the bottom there, and I could hook that in and put that right into my controller. And then that's going to go right into the same controller that I'm running my 3 fans plus my W7 off of, because that's 4 ports and we got 5, so there you go. 1 extra port ready to go. You could throw a Lumi strip in there. You could put it underneath the GPU. Seen a lot of people kind of put one underneath here, underneath the GPU bracket, get some nice illumination down there. Man, I've even seen people put cool little screens right here. You guys got a lot of fun things that you guys have done, and we'd love seeing all the cool things that you guys come up with and mod to make a P3 yours. And this is one of my versions. Got a 45 cut reservoir, little twisty straw. You thirsty yet? I know I am.
A cup of milk.
Need some cookies, baby. Need some cookies with this milk. Wow, that's some nice. Yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good. So here's basically building in the Core P3. This is what we like to do here at Thermaltake Live. And I want to do more of this stuff on the coolant side. I know you guys like to see a lot of case stuff done. And you guys like the, you know, we got a new case coming out. We're going to go through that. We're going to do overviews on our cases. So that way we can show you guys all of what you can expect with all the different parts and all the different options for your cooling, for your storage, and for your performance, as far as how everything's going to fit, what can fit, and go through a lot of that stuff. That's what Thermaltake Live is here for. And then we're going to dive in and we're going to do DIY LCS all day long, being able to show you guys some fun, convenient little tube bends that you can do to get your system up and running in a couple hours. And we hope you guys enjoy it. RGB, baby, for life.
Oh, life. But Mike, what if somebody doesn't want to build this themselves? What if they want to buy it, you build?
Oh, now, if you were looking, so say for example, and no, you know, I'm going to definitely plug our boys over at LCGS, but say for example, something like this is a little bit out of your league, or you don't want to get all the tools and spend all the time to figure out how to do something like this, and you just want a nice turnkey solution that comes with a warranty, check out our LCGS website. We have custom liquid cooled PCs for both standard AIO pre-built systems directly off of Amazon. You can buy those ready to go, Windows installed, turnkey, bam, RTX 30 series ready to go. We also have a configurator where we can do custom DIY LCS builds, and we've been building stuff for a lot of people for the latest games that have been coming out, from Call of Duty to even Flight Sim 2020. We had some big dogs that were looking for some huge performance systems, and we've done full custom liquid cooling like this. The guys at LCGS will not only be able to put together a system that you configure, but we give you a personal call. We ask you what you want. What's your theme? Are you looking for a black and white build? Maybe you want to add some blue in there. We have options from the C-Pro fittings to the sleeve extension cables to allow you to be able to pick your color and theme that you want to do. And then with our phone call follow-ups that we do from our LCGS team, we talk with you about the tube work. We can do just about anything for you, and we customize each and every build for each and every person. So if you want to know, like if you want something that's got a little bit more twists and twirls and stuff like that and loop-de-loops, we can do that. You want it straight and clean, we can do that too. The guys at LCGS can definitely work out something that's gonna go great for you, and we do that nice personal phone call and follow-ups with you for stuff. We even do etching work just the same. So you got a nice tempered glass panel, you got a cool little logo, you got a nice call sign that you want showing up here on the front and everything like that. The guys will throw that in free of charge if you get a custom configurable DIY LCS PC. We're working on getting new stuff set up for AMD. It is definitely, you know, a little bit of allocation to make sure we can get those latest and greatest CPUs. And same thing with NVIDIA too, being able to get the newer graphic cards. But a lot of that's going to be on our water block, and we're hoping that we can get our water block here soon so that way we can offer even more options from LCGS to do those, you know, custom liquid cooled 3080, 3090 GPUs and be able to add that into a loop like that, and you can pick all your parts and you know, get it all set up. We ship stuff like this on a pallet to your door with a personal truck. LTL freight service right to your door. So you got to be there. It's not Amazon. We ain't dinging the door and running away. This is the real deal. And we get it to you nice in one piece. And yeah, preloaded, ready to go. The guys play games on it for at least 3 days before they send it to you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But you know, they have a good time and they really enjoy what they do, and you can definitely see it in their work. So, I mean, yeah, take a look at that if you guys are interested in that. And then at the same time with Thermaltake, we got you on the DIY LCS side. Anything in these individual parts that you want to get, you can grab kits that we have where it kind of takes a lot of the stress out of what you need. You could get a kit from us. You could get individual components, kind of build your own and do what you want to do for something like this when you're dealing with like a GPU and CPU combo. Pump res. Our new distro plates are great too. We'll have to be playing around with more of those and everything like that. But here we go. That's our Core P3. Really hope you guys enjoyed the show today. We're going to be taking a break on Turkey. So Thursdays, we're not going to have we're not going to have a stream Thursday. So stay tuned for what we're going to be doing in December. We got some stuff lined up. Like I said, we're going to be doing Cyberpunk Week, December 8th on the stream. So we're going to be having that coming up. And we got the Distro Case 350p to showcase with that for the new game. And then we're going to be diving into some new gameplay with Cyberpunk once it comes out on the 10th. And even more coming right around the holiday time, maybe even a giveaway.
Some good stuff.
Maybe. Might be doing a giveaway.
Maybe.
Is it a pack of fans? Is it an LED strip? Is it an entire new system? You'll have to stay tuned to see what we have coming out. So don't forget to follow us here on Twitch, like and subscribe on YouTube and everything in our social media channels here at Thermaltake. And we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for checking into us here on a Tuesday as we built our custom liquid cooled PC with our Core P3. Gotta love the Core P3. Hope you guys do too. Hope this helps you guys out if you're doing tubing and just about anything. And you know, hit us back if you need anything. Join our Discord. Join our Discord. We love talking to you guys on Discord. We're getting more and more questions every day, which is really awesome because, you know, me and Steve are lonely. You know?
I'm more lonelier though.
And we have a good time. And we hope you guys do too. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. But yeah, join our Discord, hang out, chat with us. You guys have questions about anything, stuff that we've done either on the stream or anything that has to do with like a Thermaltake product. We're here to help. Definitely here to help. All right, guys. Well, that's it for me today. I got some cable management to do here in the back, get this guy all buttoned up, and then, yeah, hey, I'm going to go forward, get some windows installed, and, you know, get this bad boy ready to play some games in a little bit. You guys enjoy your weekend. Okay? Enjoy that weekend. Don't eat too much. Be safe. Be safe. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys in December. All right? Have some fun. And then we got some big stuff coming up. Big stuff coming up. Stay tuned. Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah. All right. Hope you guys like the case cam. Thermal cam. Hope you guys like the thermal cam.